So Love 21 Foundation, right? So 70 families, local Hong Kongers, and we before the virus we have about 30 classes per week, and all these classes are like a lot of dance classes because our community, we love dancing, sport, football, basketball, fitness. So it's a really nice range of healthy activities. And then understanding that sport alone is not enough, kind of having a holistic program with nutrition through cooking workshops, nutritional workshops, financial support in getting organic vegetables, healthy grains, healthy snacks, and really having a real family community there, where it's not just the kids participating, but also the parents are involved. And that's been really, really exciting. ImpactHK, we work with the homeless community. That's another holistic charity in terms of understanding that, housing does not solve homelessness. These individuals cannot just leap off the ground into a place where they can be, sustainable. It takes a lot more than that. So we have counseling, mentorship, sport, art, but really friendship is our key ingredient. And that's what's kind of helped us get a lot of people off the ground and into positions where they can find, a real path towards health and happiness.
That's great. I would like to ask about current COVID-19 situation and how is that having an impact on homelessness issue in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what's happening in the world. You're seeing incredible job loss, right? Incredible businesses in a lot of trouble. I'm not even talking about the health aspect, but you're seeing a lot of this. The economy here is really going to struggle and continue to struggle for a long time after this. And you're seeing a lot of job loss. And if you compare homeless numbers with Hong Kong and other places around the world, you might say, oh, Hong Kong has really no problem at all. It's just about 2,000 people. But the truth is, in Hong Kong, you have hundreds of thousands of people who are really on the brink of homelessness at any moment. And that's because 300,000 to 400,000 people, maybe more, are living in spaces that are less than 100 square feet. And the commonality amongst those individuals is that they're alone. They probably don't have incredible relationships with their families. They're probably completely alone. Coffin homes, caged homes, and any job loss, any late government support, late government check, etc., it very easily can result in homelessness. And what we're seeing on the streets is pretty alarming. We're seeing a pretty steady increase in the homeless numbers right now. And then with McDonald's, of all places, closing recently in the evenings, that's where about 400 to 500 people were reliant on that fast food restaurant every night. And those individuals are now forced to be looking for a place to sleep outside in the rain, right now. It's a bit heartbreaking. So really it's been a time where, I know people have been wanting you have to stay home, take care. And, that's a huge issue. And these individuals don't have a home. So our charity and our staff and our volunteers, we're continuing every single day to do everything we can to make sure that this community is cared for and supported the best that we can.
Yeah, and I think it also brings out that issue. I know in Singapore, because with the work we do at Give Asia, we are finding that with the lockdown, it's actually very difficult for charity staff to go on the ground and to deliver the services in person, because you have to be mindful about not being part of the spread, right? So I think it puts organizations into a very difficult position where they still want to help, but at the same time they don't want to put their own people into vulnerable.
Yeah.
Another thing I would like to ask is how has the support been from corporates? Are you seeing an increase in support in terms of fundraising or in terms of other types of support coming?
It's been quite an overwhelming experience in many ways. And another aspect of it is the amount of people and our corporate partners reaching out and saying, this is a time we want to help more. We want to do what we can. There's a lot of people in our community who are always prioritizing care for the homeless and care for the less privileged in our society. And we're always surrounded by those caring individuals. And this has been another example of it. We're getting constant emails of people, trying to help, not just corporates, but mainly individuals, we have artists that are on Instagram saying, oh, I'll draw portraits, I'll do portraits of you for $500 if you donate that to ImpactHK in support of the homeless. just an example of really cool initiatives like that of just people all coming together. And it's a tough time, but it's one of these moments when you have, this through this tough experience, we're all going to kind of come together, and hopefully there's going to be some good results at the end of this once this virus goes away.
And I would actually want to ask you about your journey in terms of starting ImpactHK and also continuing it. Because I think anyone who has been in Hong Kong, they have definitely seen those quite alarming images of like old people on the street, like, pushing garbage box, and like, it just is painful to watch, right? And I think you're someone who basically decided to, I think you left your previous job as a teacher and you decided to go all in. Was that a slow process, or was that one day you decided that you're just going to jump into it? Because I'm asking on behalf of young change makers, or like change makers in general, who have been like looking at a social problem and thinking about what's the best way to start solving that.
Yeah, no, it's well, speaking of seniors on the streets, I mean, I personally, when I see that type of injustice and that type of situation where elderly people every single night and every single day reliant on digging in garbage to get enough food for the day, 80-year-old women with complete body pain, lugging around rubbish and recyclables, doing such hard work, at like 10 p.m. at night. This is just not acceptable. When you see stuff like that, you just can't accept that. That should never ever be accepted in society anywhere. And as a teacher, I fell in love with Hong Kong and loved working in the schools and working with the youth there. And I just loved that experience, and getting involved in charity work quite early with the Down syndrome community, and them doing what they do best, and bringing out love and bringing out the best in me. They changed my life, and I fell in love with doing charity work more, and then kind of created a bit of a movement here. And then through that movement, now we can really save lives. We can really change lives, and not just the lives of the individuals we get off the streets, or the lives of the Down syndrome and autistic community, but we're also working in changing volunteers' lives, and giving people an opportunity for them to learn the importance of caring for other people, the importance of using their love, their kindness to help people. And it's been just an incredible experience. We've had 5,000 volunteers for ImpactHK so far. It looks like we'll have another like 4,000, possibly 5,000 volunteers this year alone. So it's really a huge movement. And when you have that many people coming together who all agree that it's not acceptable for the elderly to be on the streets doing that, or the homeless to have no opportunities, when you have that community together, we really are kind of limitless in what we can accomplish.
That's amazing. Can you share more about like how did the idea of kindness walk happen? Was it organic, or was it part of your your vision and your model?
Yeah, well, I had a friend, I was involved with the Down syndrome community. I've been doing that for about almost 13 years in Hong Kong, working with them. And my friend knew I liked doing charity work, and he just asked me to go with him to Tung Chau Street Park in Sham Shui Po, which is quite a big homeless population there. And we just went in, carried the food in, passed it out, and it was quite an eye-opening experience, quite shocking. And then I decided to just invite my friends to go back with me once a month. And it was after a few months, it became pretty popular. Kind of where you had too many people one night. We're like, well, maybe we should go to twice a month. And then again, too many people, and just kept on expanding. But then the key early on was really in being open to learning and open to adapting, and really seeing really clearly that these individuals, what they need most is really friendship. It'd be very easy for me to go into a park where there are homeless people and say, hey, you can go and apply for public housing. You can go to this place and they'll help you. It's so much more powerful when I could get on a one-on-one level with someone and say, hey, let's go there together. What are you doing tomorrow, 4 o'clock? Can we go, Why don't we go there together? You can get on a friendship level with somebody. It's so much more powerful in terms of helping someone off the streets, because at the end of the day, if a job or a home is not going to give someone the hope um, to get up off the ground and just leap into the future. That hope does not come from a 120 square foot box. Hope does not come from a cleaning job that's 7 days a week. That's just not how it works. Hope comes from your heart. Hope comes from that excitement of your future. And who wants to be excited about a future that you're alone in? Why would you want to have a life that you're going to be completely alone in? So it's really it's really all about that. I keep losing my track. I'm doing the Zoom call on my phone, and it seems like about every 5 seconds I've got somebody calling in here. So that every time the phone rings in and the whole screen goes blank, and it's like deny, decline, decline. It's one of
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
Mondays. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
yeah,
won't
no,
we
it's
won't take yeah we won't take too much time. I think another 50 minutes and so.
no, I'm
Jeff,
not. No, I don't want to rush you.
what?
It's just
Uh,
if you
okay,
notice me
okay.
losing
Yeah,
my train of thought.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Sorry.
What about the transformation you have seen for volunteers? Like, what has happened in that side of things? Like, people who did not expect what they would gain themselves from participating in these kindness walks. Do you have any stories to share?
Um, Gosh, the volunteers. I mean, that has been something that has just always been such an amazing, blessing, really, in this whole thing. Is I just meet so many nice people. I mean, you got people writing you all the time who are just so kind, and they're always like, "Oh, what can I do to help? I want to help," and they do help. They don't just say it; they jump in, they get involved, they take charge, and working with volunteers has just been something I was never trained on doing or never thought about in my life before. But I'm also trying to learn how to do that better. I really like to focus on a couple of aspects when you work with volunteers, and that's of course they need to be acknowledged for their time. They're dedicating time of their own free time to go out and help people, and they should be acknowledged for that. And we want to definitely make sure that when they do that and they spend that time, that they're doing something that's meaningful. And I find one of the best ways to make it a meaningful experience for volunteers is to give them ownership of something, to give them something that they can use their skills and their heart and talent in, and they can attack it. And you don't want to put people in volunteer positions where you're like, no, can you put that over there? Thanks. Oh yeah. Oh, after that, can you do this? And you start getting in these types of situations, and it's painful for everyone. The best thing you can do with a volunteer is really give them an opportunity to just go for it and attack it. And that ownership that they have, that really does bring the best out in volunteers. And I think that's why you see such great volunteers that we have, and they keep coming back for more.
This is one question which always comes up with change makers, which is this idea of being sustainable and figuring out how to make it a sustainable enterprise so that in some ways it can continue to go on, even in future, right? So I wonder, like, what has your way of what have been some of the frameworks or some ways in which you approach this issue around sustainability, financial sustainability?
Yeah, I think it's a huge thing. All charities seem to have the same issue. How do you get the funding to come in? I do not like begging for money. I don't want to be in a situation where I've got to constantly be writing proposals. It's just not my thing. Luckily, we have a good team that do a great job in that, and we've been very successful in our proposals, because I think also as a charity, when we say we're going to do something, we get results, and I think it really does work. But no, I've got big plans on us being more financially sustainable. We are very sustainable right now, because of our kindness walks and having about 120 a month. Having a very strong CSR program where we lead corporates and their employees on the streets, empowering them, which is part of a holistic change, honestly, in a charity. Is when the more people in Hong Kong that know about the situation, care about the situation, and that is a holistic aspect to this charity. So we want more volunteers, and each of those volunteers, they've got companies, they've got We're in a school program. We work with about 20 schools. Those kids are not only getting educated, but also their parents know about Impact HK. So it creates a movement. And the more people you have in this movement, the more sustainable you are. We're moving into creating a lot of jobs through our own companies. So we're opening up a secondhand clothing coffee shop right now. We're going to start a painting company probably June 1st. And we're also looking at now very, very soon, maybe in the next month, maybe in the next couple of weeks, actually opening up our website with our clothing brand, Kindness Matters. We have ImpactHK coffee. I'm looking at getting into the wine business. We really want to create an incredible amount of really kick-ass products that will make us, financially sustainable. And it will be sustainable because of our huge volunteer base. It would be very difficult for a small charity that doesn't have a huge volunteer base to say, oh, I'm going to start a clothing shop. But we can do that because we have a huge, passionate team of volunteers. And when you have that team of volunteers, you really have the potential to do anything. This is a time where you have a government of Hong Kong, that is obviously in over their heads. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to solve this issue. They don't know how to help the poor. They're throwing $10,000 at people, just trying to do whatever they can. They don't know what they're doing. And also they are really doing a disservice to charities. Not only are they not supporting charities, but when they do support charities, they expect you to go through such an extensive money process of basically begging and doing everything you can to appease people that don't know how to help. So you have your idea as a charity, and then the government has the money, and then you have to adapt your plans to get approval from them. And then afterwards, you have to have a really extensive, reporting and follow up. And it's just something we don't want to be involved in. Number one, I don't think we want to be in a position where we have to rely on this government for anything. And the last thing we want to do is beg a government for money that has very clearly shown how little they care for the homeless. These aren't really the people we want to have on our side. When they want to be on our side, and they want to show us how much they care for the homeless by actually their actions, removing bars off benches, stopping they're basically pushing these homeless people away into positions where they might commit suicide. When they start getting more in line with us, when they start coming to us and showing us, hey, we really care about this community, let's work together, then we'll be like, okay, let's do it. We've got the heart, you've got the money, let's make a smart plan. But yeah, the last thing you want to do as a small charity is start relying on seeking funding from corporations or the government, who make you stretch too much, make you add new programs that are what they think is appropriate as opposed to what you can do. And that's why this self-funding of having initiatives that you raise money internally, and then we can do what we know is best, and we can be as efficient as possible. It's a long answer for that. I kind of get all over the place, but yeah,
I think that's great.
Yeah,
I think it's great to know like where you're coming from, because I totally agree with you that you being on the ground are best positioned to understand what are the challenges and how to tackle those challenges. As you increase the number of volunteers in your organization and you have more and more stakeholders, do you have certain values that keep everyone on the same page? And do you communicate those values frequently? How do you go about like making sure people are living with those values?
Yeah, that's why we have that hashtag Kindness Matters. We put it out there. Our social media is all about kindness. It's all about proactiveness in treating people the way you'd like to be treated. That's pretty much our messaging on everything. We don't judge people and waste our time blaming people or criticizing people. We see how we can empower them. We see how we can give them an opportunity. But you do, once in a while, you get volunteers who come out who don't really know ImpactHK. They don't really know that. They're not really following our Facebook page religiously like you should be. And they sometimes will, they'll come on a walk and they'll be like, oh, why doesn't he just get up and get a job? And you're like, whoa, you didn't see my last 10-minute video on Facebook about that? But for the most part, all of our volunteers, the reason that they're coming out on a Tuesday night in the rain or a Wednesday night is because they care. And we very, very rarely ever have a volunteer who doesn't get it. And it's always a challenge when you have a charity that's so young and adapting so quickly to keep up with the messaging and to make sure that people know, especially when you have that number of volunteers. And yeah, pretty much, social media is the most up to date with our Facebook page, and the website's, always a little bit behind. But yeah, I think it's a pretty clear message that we have as a charity, and I think it's an important one, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's very important to have like a guiding principle in which is kindness matters in your case. Uh, Last question I want to ask you, Jeff, is balancing between your work and like your family. Obviously, like, you're very passionate about this, and I just want to get some tips from you. And I think other change makers would also want to get some tips from you that while you're super passionate about your work, how do you make sure that you're not sacrificing on your personal, like, well-being and your family, and how do you kind of bring those two together?
That's a good question. Everything's fine. I'm just doing great over here. Yeah. No, it's it is. Yeah, this is a common question I get. Like, but I am. Yeah, I'm slowly losing my mind. It's a really tough process. You work hard, and I work very very hard. I am very very dedicated to this cause, and honestly, I'm so passionate about it. I'm very very blessed to have an incredible family who are very supportive of me and doing what I do. And also, we have now really built a great staff. So we have an incredible team here, who maybe are not, or definitely are not getting the attention they deserve, because behind the scenes every single day they're working so hard and grinding and putting an incredible amount of love and effort into everything they're doing. And that's why we're finding success in helping the individuals that we can help on the streets. But yeah, mental health is it's a huge huge topic, and I think the reason that I'm still alive really and still a little bit sane is because of how important it is for our mental health to help people. The reason I can do what I do is because I absolutely love it. I love this job. Every single day I wake up and I want to go to work. I want to be here. I want to be doing what I'm doing. And that's the beauty of helping people. How good is it for mental health, for your own mental health, instead of saying like, oh, I need to do this for myself, I need to meditate, I need to go and hike for myself. It's so powerful, to spend an hour with someone where that person's in pain and hurting, and through you being there as a friend who's willing to listen and show them care, and then see them find this new life and this new spirit where they're ready to attack the day. That feeling for my mental health is incredible. And that's really the only reason I'm still, yeah, about 65% sane.
Where can people find you? How can people be of value and be of service in these times of need? What are some of the things people can do?
Yeah, we're still every single night we're still doing our kindness walks. So we're still on the streets every single night. We have smaller groups due to the social distancing and the 4 people, but we're still doing these every night. You can sign up through our website, www.impacthk.org. Um, of course, at this time, our greatest need really are just more hours in the day and money. And, we need, we've got a big issue here on the streets. We are spending a lot of money every day. It's a pretty huge undertaking. We serve about 5,000 meals per week, on the streets. So we're serving a lot of people. There's a lot more need. And, oh, thank you. Yeah, we're just a lot of need out there. Financial donations really mean a lot to us right now. It really gives us the power to just go out there and see people in need and just help them. Last night we helped a young child, really, who a 19-year-old boy, who's sleeping in McDonald's and now is outside looking for a place. And we find him, and we don't have to hesitate. We can get him into shelter right away, getting him into a hotel. And that really is because of incredible donations. So every dollar counts for us. So I really do appreciate any support there. Yeah, no, that I love that quote. If you could be anything, be kind. I think kindness matters it's just such an important thing at this time. It's a time when you have this pain around you and this fear around us, right? It's so important that we think about caring for others, and we think about, being kind to our neighbors, caring for the people who are the least fortunate in our society. And I think that's just so important. It's just always got to be ingrained in us to be, nice to people, because you never know what someone's going through. You never know what they're facing, the pain that they're in. You never know. And the very least, at the very, very least, we could be kind to them.
No. That's great, Jeff. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I wish you all the best, and we will do our best to spread your message of kindness matters. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how all your different social enterprises are going to flourish over time and help many more people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye
Yes, you.
bye. Bye.